Someone would like to make that motion?
Almost.
I need a motion, second to motion. Steve, all those in favor? I want to give Steve just a quick few minutes to look over the bills and then we'll get.
I can go afterwards.
All right, just did everyone get them and sign the warrant, so that's what I need. Okay. Could we stand and do the pledge? Please? I'd like to ask you to read the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome all of you to our August meeting. It doesn't seem possible that we're moving this quickly through the summer, but it sure is happening. First of all, if there are any of you that are here in regards to a meeting about the landfill transfer station, there's nothing in particular on the agenda about that tonight. We'll have a meeting later in the month that will just be an informational meeting. There was a little confusion on that, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that ahead of time, so you can say, okay, how come we aren't discussing it? It's not on the agenda, so it will not be discussed tonight. All right. Before I get started, I guess I would like to just make you aware of one thing, that I am in this office pretty much every day from like 9 o'clock to 1 or 1:30, except for 3 days that I go down to the county for the county meetings. And I just feel if I have constituents or employees who have issues, I would wish that rather than use social media, I wish they would walk through my door. And I've had a couple of people who've done that, said, I'd like to meet with you, and we've accommodated them. I just feel there's something about a face-to-face meeting where you can discuss what the issues are and know where the other people stand. So all I'm saying, as an employee or as a constituent of ours, I wish you would make a point of pick up the telephone, stop by the office. There isn't an issue, I don't believe, that we can't discuss that way and come to a good result. All right, so I guess with that, I'm going to start with, if there's anyone else in the audience, we have privilege of the floor at this time. No one? All right, then we're going to move along.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
It's only going to take a second. I'm not going to use the mic. If you guys could, I know we have an audio system around here sometimes, but for some of us, it's hard to hear you guys when you speak, maybe at the next meeting if it's possible.
Pat, that's a good idea, and we do have a sound system.
I know we do.
It's in one of these little rooms here, doors, so yes, if you work on that, I'll make a point of that, Pat, all right?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Dicey. Gwen?
Did you just say that we were not discussing the transfer station?
That's correct. We'll be doing that later in the month. We will have one evening that's devoted strictly to the transfer station, changes that are happening, signage that's being put up. But we have a fairly lengthy agenda tonight, so really to discuss the transfer station and landfill tonight is not the time to do it. So no, we will not be discussing.
I think it was kind of misleading that it was emphasized that they were going to discuss it.
Well, it was not misleading on the part of the board because we never sent out anything saying that we were going to have a meeting. In last month's meeting, it was brought to your attention that at some point during the month of August, there would be a public informational meeting regarding the transfer station. And that was pretty much how it was left. Yes.
How does that information get out to the public? Do you just post it on the wall outside the door, or is it just like?
Well, I think it got posted up at the transfer station.
Okay,
And there was just a little bit of a, let's put it, lack of communication. That's simply what it was. Yes, Nancy.
For the minutes' sake, it would be nice if people could identify who they are
When they speak.
And I'm sorry, I don't
Oh,
know.
I'm Winfred Conan,
Conan?
C-O-N-A-N-T.
Right.
Oh, Conan. I'm
And the
sorry.
other person was
Joseph
Joe
McKellar,
McKellar.
McKellen?
MICHELA.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry.
No, that's a good point to make. Thank you.
There
Yes.
was a sign at the Silver Lake Post Office that said this would be about the transfer station.
Well,
And
Steve, I'm gonna let you.
Yeah, let's
answer.
just address this. These were unauthorized signs. We don't know who put them up. Whoever put them up doesn't have the right information. If you're on my website, on my email list, again, give me your name and send me, I can send it out to you. There are a few handouts that we're gonna be working with down the road. If you'd like to take them home, take a look at them tonight, but we didn't authorize that sign, and it was an unauthorized sign. We're sorry for the confusion that led to it.
And I will admit that I am the one who made the sign to put in the post office, Southern and Hay, because it's a high priority for us, and I misunderstood information that they were going to have at 6 o'clock the meeting on the transfer station, and that's a high priority for us.
Right, and I think you're on my email list. You saw the note that I sent out today, saying it will not be discussed tonight.
I didn't see
Okay,
that.
well, when you get home, guess what?
See, that email only went out today.
That's correct, and the meeting is 6 o'clock, right? Right, so,
Right, but-
again, right. I understand that, Lynn, but.
In the future, we will make sure well in advance, the night of the meeting, it will be on the website as well as any other media that we use. All right, one thing I want to tell you, we're kind of excited about that finally the trail.
I know, there's one more question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to, I have an opportunity.
Whatever issue you have, this
Sure.
is privilege of the 4 times, so yes.
Okay, so now the time of the time. All right. So,
Yeah, they can't hear.
And tell everybody your name.
And, yeah, give us your name first, please.
hi, my name is Carolyn Williams, and I'm here about appealing my continuance from 1.67 to 1.
Oh, okay, we will be getting to that later, and yes, then you'll have your opportunity to speak, yes. Thank you. Okay, first of all, I want to read a notice that I got on my email today. Good afternoon, everyone. We have some great news on behalf of our DPW Parks and Rec staff. The trail to Warren County Swede Mountain Fire Tower in Hague is complete. The fire tower has been rehabilitated and is ready for hikers. This is going to be a major boon for the Brant Lake Hague communities. So these fire tower trails are really popular with hikers who will drive hours to visit them. We plan to announce this to the public later this week, and we'll offer a guided hike on Friday, 8/13 morning, if anyone wants to take a walk to the top. It will require hiking shoes and outdoors attire. Will probably be 90 minutes or so between the walk to the top, visit to the 7-story tower, and return trip. The plan is to meet at the trailhead off Route 8 at 9:30 a.m. And it's changed a little bit. What we're doing is we're going to meet there at 9:15, so that we'll have just like a brief ribbon cutting ceremony. Dan Steck and Matt Simpson will be there so they can hike to the top after we have, cut the ribbon. And I would just like to let anyone know that if you're here and you're interested in making the hike to the top, they would be more than happy for you to meet us up there off of Route 8 at 9:15. This has been in the works for quite a while. We spent a lot of time getting there. I had called Kevin at DPW 2 weeks ago, and he said part of the problem for not being open any sooner was it was so wet. And when they tried to get up there to finish the work that they were doing, it was a mess. So he said he hoped in a couple of weeks, and so the couple of weeks is here. So I know I made many trips up that trail as a kid with my brothers and sisters, and so I think it's just kind of exciting now to see that it's open again for the public to make the trip up. Okay, so I need a motion to pay the general highway and sewer claims in the amount of $53,776.62. Marty made the motion, the second to the motion. Second by Josh. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. I need a motion to accept minutes as printed, subject to corrections for July 13th, 2021. I'd like to make that motion. Jack, make the motion, second to the motion. Steve, any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, the vote then. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. I need to make a note. We are still having trouble finding the minutes to our April 30th meeting. So consequently, we still have not approved those minutes because to date, we really have not been able to locate the minutes. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention because if you remember, there was a meeting that we said we could not approve them because none of us had them in our hands so we can read them over. So we're kind of still waiting on rotating those. Okay, so we'll go on to administrative report. The assessor, I don't know if I put that in your folder or not, but very briefly, she just said that they had done 13 transfers, 7 miscellaneous updates. Dave went out to inspect 3 properties for the sewer advisory committee, but they've been busy in that office. We just renewed in May our finance, insurance package, so we're good on that until May of next year. So we'll go into buildings and grounds. Marty?
Nothing.
Josh, you have anything?
I have one, I guess it does it pertains to a town road, so I guess buildings and grounds, you know. I'll just make mention that a Mr. Latour came to see me. His house is right on the corner of New Hague and Yaw Road. And he just is concerned about his home. He's had water damage twice now. Each situation has been $9,000 worth of damage, so a total of 18 grand.
22 to be exact.
Okay. So I called Matt and Mr. Fiello, and they were very positive and proactive and wanting to help him, and I believe in my heart that they're doing everything they can to do it. But he's very worried about it happening again and the financial burden that could come, because that culvert is the highway department is working hard to have it replaced with a grant, and it's just a time thing. I don't think that there's anything more we could do, but I just want to bring it to the town board's attention that Mr. Latour is deeply concerned about his home, and him and I are in agreement that we'd like to request to have it placed in the
May I
minutes.
have the floor, please?
Yes, I was going to say, Tim, I'll refer to you from highway.
Part of the problem is that we're dealing with FEMA. FEMA has a strict set of rules and guidelines that we have to go by. And before people can go around saying that we're being hostile to these residents, and we're actually taking the time to explain it to them.
I never said that.
I didn't say you, that was you who just said that. I didn't say you, because he came to me today, upset again, saying that I was upset with him. I'm not upset with him. He is actually my neighbor as well. He's also a resident of this community. He came to me because it was repeated to him that someone mentioned to him that I was very upset at the fact that he was concerned, which is hypocritical. I explained to him the process. I explained to him how we've switched leadership roles from FEMA. I explained to him about the delays with COVID-19 problems that we have at hand. And we would appreciate all residents of this town to contact the highway department if there's a problem. We are not asking them to call the community center. We're not asking them to call a board member. We're asking you to call us directly. We keep an open invitation and open line. And if there's anything that I do for this highway department or any one of my fellow coworkers is directed right towards our superintendent like it's supposed to be. Just because of this miscommunication, I don't want to see any resident here. I live here. I love this place. I've had my ups and downs and my struggles with it, trying to get involved with the community, and I've made my place. I've been here for 22 years. We're here for you. We do little unseen things that nobody sees all year long for in particular residents, whether it's pushing heavy snow out in front of their driveway or bringing a load of gravel on the side. Taking whatever garbage we can for the elderly. If there's an issue with any resident, we ask that you address us, not to go through the board members, because the process that we have to go through with FEMA is 10 times more than what anybody can believe. Every piece of paper, every email, every phone call is documented. And when they start changing leadership roles and they start taking away budget money to get these jobs done, all those liabilities fall back on the residents for their taxes. We're trying to avoid that. Unfortunately, there's 4 other projects that are in the works along with the Yaw Road. We have two of them that are in completion. One of them we can't start because of COVID relations, because the people that are making the forms for the precast can't get it done until a later date. If we wait till October, then all our permits are null and void when it comes time to get into the brooks and streams, which means we have to bring heaters and tents. which takes away the grant money that's gonna pay for this work to be done. So we decided that we were gonna take the jobs that were most important to get done, that get done fastest, and do it accordingly. Unfortunately, if we do have another hazard, it's sad to say, but it's the best way for it to happen, because then it'll get done faster, because of the process through our government and FEMA. I'm sorry, it's sad. I had another half-hour meeting with Dick Latour today. The guy was almost in tears, it almost made me cry, and I don't like crying, I'm a big tough guy, but it's I'm a mushy person. Please address all your issues with the highway department. We don't ask you to go to the board members, come to us first. If we can't resolve the issue, then you're more than happy to go to the board members. I believe Steve Vermont is our representative for the highway department. You go to him. If Steve doesn't get the job done, then you go to him. Thank you.
Tim, I have one
I'm gonna
question.
respond either way,
Hold
so.
I,
Oh,
I thought there was something, Tim, that I'm looking at Mr. Latour, he's saying, apparently it's property damage to his house, building, whatever. The last time I went to a FEMA meeting, I didn't think these personal things entered into it. There was no way.
Unfortunately, FEMA doesn't cover personal things, and so the damage excesses over unlivable conditions. His water line hit here,
Right,
his electrical box was here. If that water line would have hit his electrical box,
right,
everything would have been covered. And unfortunately, his house is in a floodplain.
right.
We've had engineers, we've had eco studies done, we've had the 50, 100, and 500-year storms all accounted for. And just a massive amount of volume of water. I'm gonna say due to climate change, we can see it. You know, you can look at 6 inches of rain in an hour. And we watch every storm that comes in though. The last time it was just above the top. We just met the new neighbor at the end of the road. I attached it to the emails as well.
Right. Well, I just was sure that personal property is not part of what
It
FEMA
is.
reimburses for, so.
No, it's not. It doesn't cover it. It only goes to the extent of if it's more than, it has to damage the resident's home before they actually get involved. And unfortunately, there's still unlivable conditions. And it's a sad process. It really is, but it's all we can do.
All right, thank you. But one up, oh,
Just
Mr. Johnson, you have a question?
Tim, I can tell you're doing everything you can and you're deeply vested in care. But I also will tell you that there's nothing wrong with a resident going to any board member, no matter what, at any time, to voice their opinion. And you're right, I don't really think it's right that you feel like you should feel offended that he comes to me first.
That's not why I feel offended. I felt offended because there was a comment made by somebody, which I am not pointing out, that said that I was angry and upset with him. That's why I wanted a group meeting. That's why our conference call was on speaker. I have crossed my
I
teeth.
said, man, quote unquote, what you said to me, I'm a bit offended that you went to a board member before you went to me.
He came to me and said, I was pissed off. I said, I was offended at the fact that it was taken out of context.
I'm telling you what I said, all right? And I don't regret it.
Okay, so we've
Neither do I.
heard it, so let's just be a little more careful in the future, because it is true. Tim sends me all this email, so I know everything that's coming down, but I don't feel that gives me the right to step in and say to somebody, hey, really, they should be doing this, they should be doing that. But I am kept informed as whatever is coming down, the meetings we've had, all of that.
I'm grateful that he came back and asked and said, are you pissed off? I'm sorry for the language. I offended anybody.
All right, now, while you're up there, do you have anything else that you want to tell us about highway and what you guys have been up to?
Sabbath Day Point residents, are there any here? Because we're about to beat up that entire area. We got a soil and water project that's coming into effect starting August 18th to try to divert the water collection that's building up down there towards the parking lot. We're working with the 1-inch grade. It's going to be very difficult. We should get some grant money to help along with that to improve the storm water prevention system. It's going to be about a 1.5-week project. It starts the 18th, and we're going to go right into paving. Sabbath Day Point, Carney Point, half of God Hill, and Summit Road, all in the first weeks of September. God Hill stormwater damage number 3 is in final review. They're calling for the bid to go out in the paper on the 12th. We'll find out who comes in with the lowest bid. Once it hits the paper, it takes 30 days. Once that bid comes in, we can commence work on making sure that infrastructure doesn't fail. So we don't have to worry about an 8-inch high pressure sewer line going. McCoy, as explained, was pushed off until the spring. We have Yard Road, which is next. The engineers are in the final design drawings to be approved for FEMA to get it done. We'll save the Sabbath Day Point Box Culvert for last because it is a historic factor. And FEMA is just so nervous in their state historic prevention team. And they will be taking the time to take apart each brick off the bridge and put it back together piece by piece because it's part of the Silver Bay historical site going back towards the 1800s. We're also asking the board, there's a highway superintendent meeting coming up in September. We also have the Salt Summit meeting that's coming up in November. Matt and I are going down to the tennis meeting. It's going to be a 4-day meeting. We're only asked to go down for 2 days that we need, which would be the 28th, 29th, 28th and 29th, coming back on the 30th.
So you're gonna be staying overnight
Yes,
on the
we're gonna stay
28th?
overnight. Yeah,
Okay,
and after that, it's on to the Salt Summit.
when's that, the 1st of October?
October 6th. We were going to push it for the 1st. I asked Chris Levinsky to push it back to the 6th just because of all the vendors and who's in the state longer at the highway superintendent meeting. We are in the middle of a $500,000 grant that we're trying to get for a self-sustainable salt shed to eliminate contamination from the highway department spilling into the aquifer that spills out towards the back of the highway department that goes into the main aquifer, the Hay Brook that leads into Lake George. So hopefully with this grant and a system that we come up with and design, we'll be able to take more pollutants out of the lake and the brooks and the streams that are feeding the Lake George basin.
And I would like to say that the grant writer was very impressed with the project and she's very confident that she believes we may be on the receiving end of that grant. So that was nice to hear that from her.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. We appreciate that. I appreciate all you do with those grants because I know how much work it is. Okay, museum historian, Josh.
Yes, I did reach out to them for the Hague Historical Society today, and they just asked that I communicated that they had great attendance at our opening meeting, and it was great to see all the members. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Well, we didn't get a report on the planning, zoning, and stormwater, but there has been a lot going on. There's an awful lot of building going on. It's we have people in there kind of standing in line to get the permit. So unless, Jack, you had something you wanted to say on that particular topic?
Regarding personnel, we had a very busy month. I think the last meeting, our 2 town employees at the transfer station have resigned. We are now have posted the positions and we're trying to get through the summer at least to keep the transfer station open. Second, Mike Auerbach, our CEO, resigned his position for personal reasons effective August 21st. The position has been posted and the board is considering options for filling that position. And Kathy Clark has stepped up to help us fill in the interim, and Kathy, we're very grateful for that. Third, the town is still seeking an assistant to help moderate our Zoom sessions. There was no response to the Hague Chronicle ad, and this is not a difficult position. We're really hoping that some town citizen will step up and help us in this, and we're very grateful for Ginger for her dedicated service to the town in this regard too. So thank you, Ginger. I think that's it.
All right, thank you, Jack. Okay, town park beautification, Steve.
First of all, We're gonna try and get the fireworks off the ground this weekend. on Saturday.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed, third time could be a charm. We're gonna be setting up the parking lot. We've got 3 food trucks, and the fire, big volunteer fire station is not gonna be doing desserts. We're gonna have it roped off on the cement, so they don't have to worry about going on the grass. We're gonna rope that off, late Friday night, so Saturday morning, it'll be the people still go to lunch, and both are gonna close the launch at 3. And then we're gonna rope off a little bit more so the food trucks can get in and have some room. Tommy Deno's band party will start at 6 and the fireworks will go off at 9:30, so that's a plus. I think that's gonna be a good show. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So far, it looks like it's not gonna rain. Hopefully.
Here's hoping.
And tomorrow night, Rick Ortiz is at music in the park, and hopefully it's not gonna rain tomorrow night either, so Richard puts a good show on. As far as we found, and we looked into some grants for helping with music in the park. Some of the people come in and have multiple people, and we want to see if we can assist them and maybe get some new, not new, but possible new people. Again, there are grants. I spoke to the Adirondack Arts Regional Council director. We're in time to be able to get in and hopefully get some grants available for that. She's going to be sending us some information in the next week or so. And so that hopefully that'll help and possibly work budget and maybe get some new people in and some people that charge them what we haven't been able to afford before. So I think that's a plus. Going down the line, the rocks underneath the bridge, a couple people have mentioned it to me. They thought it was impeding the fish, and it's also a hazard as the rain keeps coming, the rocks build up down there. I called Region 5. They referred me back down to the county. The county did come up and take a look at it. They realized that there's too many rocks piled up underneath the bridge, it could be a hazard. And so now they went back to DEC to get some DEC assistance. So DEC, DOT, but we got 2 agencies working on that, so that should be forthcoming to get that correct.
Army Corps of Engineers gave the okay to have the work done as long as the permits are.
Good.
Accordingly, I received an email from Joe himself
Oh,
Good.
on that.
Good, so that is a plus. The other thing is the trailhead up here where it collapsed, it's been roped off. DEC is rerouting the trail. So when you go back up here by the fish hatchery, the trees fell in and the wall fell down. They're working on rerouting it so it'll be safe and opening up again. So that's a good thing also. And we're looking as far as with the transfer station, we've received some expense restructuring from Casella, which will help. And we're also looking at tipping fees from Casella. We'll be examining those, and hopefully we'll be able to save some money on that too. So we're trying to save some expense money that way. So that's a good thing. And then like Ed said, we'll have a public information meeting scheduled. Hopefully this month. We've got some good ideas we've been working on with some folks, and I believe Wally is put a resignation in, but is still going to be working with us until we can find some replacements. And so that's that. That's about all I have. Did you have something?
I couldn't hear you say that you were talking about the rocks.
The rocks under the bridge,
Under the hole.
under the Route 9 bridge, right? So hopefully, and then Tim said he got a hold of, Corps of Engineers got involved in that, so
Yeah.
that's gonna come. We don't want the bridge to collapse, and we want to make it so, fish can swim upstream.
Steve, did you have those flyers
Yeah, I
over
put
there?
some flyers over here. I brought them in. You can take one, look at, as you know, with the transfer station, as they've done in Warrensburg, Oregon, they rerouted it and they make it so there's a situation where the traffic pattern changes and more signage. So there's just some examples that we're working with right there, and take them home. We didn't take a look at it. If you have any suggestions, get back to me, but hopefully that'll be a good way to move forward. And I just brought them in, they're over here behind
Well, they have numbers and it,
Right.
they will be in front of the container, but it tells you exactly what articles will go in that particular container. So you're really gonna have to do a little bit of more work beforehand. So when you get there, you know, this is where the plastics are, I'm taking my metals over here. But that's what that attempts to do. And there will be signs up there.
There's gonna
in
be
front.
more signage. Phil's gonna be making signs. This is a preliminary look at, we'd like you to look at. There'll be different ways to come in, different entrance, different exit. There'll be better signage, permanent signage, because, you know, we experimented at Pat knows, we put some cardboard on the containers and all of a sudden they sell it to the containers. It's the signs. So Phil's making permanent signs up for us. There'll be signs on the building. And we believe that it will work smoother once we get these things put in place, because again, they do it in Warrensburg and Horicon, and there's not a problem at all. So it's an educational process, and again, we want to listen. That's why we put those out there. If you have any ideas, we're ready to listen to them. That's about it.
Thanks. Thank you, Steve. Jack, sewer District 1 and 2, and I don't know how much information you have on the updating that we're doing with that grant. I don't know if you talked to John at all about that.
I know that he is working on it. He was busy today with the work, but I think he's paying attention to it.
Okay, well, all I wanted to be sure to tell you is last Wednesday and Thursday, they were working at the Dodd Hill pump station. On my way back from my run to Silver Bay in the morning, there were like 7 vehicles there, and I was trying to figure out what's going on. And Diane said today is one of the big days. Whatever they were working on the upgrade, they were doing that at Dodd Hill last week, but apparently, I think maybe tomorrow, they're gonna be working on that same type of issue, but down at the Lake Shore pump station. So they are gradually working on.
Yeah, they were down there today doing some work down there too.
Okay, I knew they were supposed to be down here, so they are putting those grant dollars to use, trying to get that done. And I did want to say that, you know, we got some of this COVID money, we didn't get a lot, our town maybe got like $68,000. But we're, like I told you last month, we get half this year and half next year, but we've kind of given serious thought to what really needs a little infusion of money, and it really is the wastewater treatment plant. So John has one particular project that he'd like to be working on. So, you know, unless someone else comes up with something, I do feel that's a project that needs to be worked on, and the money really should probably go to the wastewater treatment plant so they can get that next phase done. So we're looking at that. John's turning into 3 other things that he thinks might need to be worked on. So, yes.
Another thing, I will report that one more delinquent connection has been made to the sewer system, where the documentation for that is in process, and it'll come before the board in next month's meeting to approve a slight deviation.
Okay.
of the law. And there's now only 2 open properties that are being addressed. Both of them seem positive, and I expect to have those closed out in the fall.
Okay, very good. Took us a while, but we're getting there, Jack.
And we will be addressing the appeals recommendation. The committee has addressed 3, and those are on the agenda for board action.
Right at the end of the meeting, we'll be doing that, yes. All right, thank you, Jack. Steve, did you have anything you wanted to add to that environmental concern? I don't know, you didn't have your report before. I don't know what's happening with the knotweed and that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, Ryan has completed treating the knotweed with Ryan Burkham, and we share the money with Lake George Land Conservancy. Again, he's been working up along West Hague Road. He hit some up on Overlook Road, and he hit some on West Hague Road, on New Hague Road also. You know, this knotweed is hard to stop. And, you know, he's been working and cutting and treating, and injecting them, and it just, it grows and spreads so quickly that it's going to be difficult to continue. He's going to keep continuing, but again, it's a massive project. As you see it when you drive up West Hague Road, and then you see some on Overlook, it's just, it's not Overlook, but the one across from Dockside up that road. Terrace Road, yeah. I mean, it's when it goes fast. So, you know, I gotta give Ryan a lot of credit. You know, he's got some help this year doing it. And of course, we missed last year because of the COVID, and this is a real problem.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But at least we're working at
And
it.
we're trying to get it done, and he, you know, he works very hard. He's got a crew with him this year. Yeah, Mary Lou.
Regarding the application, are they still using Roundup for that?
He's using a state-approved application that's very diluted, and it has a small percentage of Roundup in it. And the state approved it, and so that's what he has been using. But
Well, when are they going to apply it? Because
I'm
last.
sorry.
When are they going to apply it?
When are they going to apply it? Because it was either last, you didn't do it.
He didn't do it last year because of COVID, right?
It was the year before, right across the street, they were putting in directly about a foot on the Notley under the bridge from my
But,
house.
I don't, well, there was some down around the corner there across from, right, and that's gone now.
Well, the thing that is, it was pure Roundup, and they were applying it in the middle of July, and that stream,
Well, I don't know, was it Ryan or was it the state? Because
it was
sometimes,
a private guy working with the town and the LG.
right, that's Ryan, right. Sometimes, you know, you have to watch, I was curious to find out what the state was using along the 9 where you see the guardrails. I don't know whatever they use, boy, they killed everything, and people are coming to, what happens if somebody throws a cigarette butt over there? And I have no idea what they were doing over there. I mean,
Well,
they
they,
did it so
they're
fast.
very careful, they don't mention what that chemical is, but I surmise it might be the same one,
I don't know what it is.
But going back to that application timing, that was when the swimmers were in the water, and when the soil motor did the dredging, they changed the stream, as you know, and instead of going out, it now kind of goes a little bit towards Trout House and definitely towards the beach, and the condition of the beach is another topic. I got here too late, but that's before. But the point is, it's cancer causing.
Right, but
And
you know,
have
the thing
little
is,
children swimming.
he's not, injects these, you know, and again, he doesn't, you know, whatever he's going to do, it's been approved by the state. This knotweed is the most insidious thing that we see going around here. You know, in England, it's so bad on people's property because you're buying a house and it's not, you can't even get a mortgage because it's so strong, it cracks right through people's basements.
And in Europe, they don't sell Roundup,
Okay, I didn't know what they did
it's
here,
against the law.
but thank you for bringing that up. Who else had a question?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
They mentioned chicken wire, but I believe it's hardware cloth, quarter by quarter or half.
Tim and the guys have been working on chicken wire.
How you doing? We've got a project going through soil and water right now that they learned from the Europeans by using galvanized chicken wire.
But that's got big holes in it. Each
No,
house.
it's smaller than that. It's
Okay.
actually, I can show you
Quarter by
pictures.
quarter, half.
I can show you, yeah, it's a small.
Right, okay.
It's actually starting to work, and what it does is it forces the main root to grow up into
Right.
the wire and choke itself out.
Correct.
One way to avoid
Reading about it.
using pesticides.
Steve put out to Wes Mason's house years ago, they were gonna do something, nothing's been done yet. It's 10 times bad.
We're trying this now, we started it late, it's the project that we're doing for soil and water. You're welcome to try it in your own home, the best time to put it down is in the springtime.
I don't have any in my yard, but glad he does, my
Sure.
neighbor's got.
Well, the best time, when it's Friday, you can delay it piece down, and as it starts growing, it'll help you spread it.
I also parked there, you know, and I dug it all up and parked it and drive it, the names. Probably smart. That seems to work.
Yeah, thank you, yes, sir.
We get an approved procedure for homeowners.
I'm sorry.
Can we get an approved procedure for homeowners to act on their own?
On not least-
Because we have, Dot Hill Road is just covered with it, right across from the treatment plant. And that whole side of the hill, so we're happy to treat ourselves, maybe approved treatment, and what we can do. I have no problem with moving Roundup, I understand it's nice,
Right.
so it's.
I had some, right, I can give you a little bit, what I had some across the street from me. More than the other, oh Christ, look at this. So I went and got, I think it was 7 SEPIN, from Abishans. And I took that over there and I just sprayed it, sprayed it, sprayed it, sprayed it, sprayed it. And it finally killed it. You know, but it took a lot of time. And I go over there and spray it. I hit all the leaves and I'd spray it and I'd spray it. And it finally did kill it. So I know that from my own experience, that does work. And you dilute it a little bit with water and you spray it on, you don't pour it out completely. You dilute it, you spray it. It's gonna take a while, but it did work. You know, so that's something you may want to try. That's just my own personal experience. It does work.
And the second question is there somebody in the county that's actually gone out and eradicated this? And just as you mentioned that, somebody over there.
Well, we have a gentleman that's upstate. He has a company that treats herbicide treatment, Ryan Burkham. And I can put you in contact with Ryan, give you his name and number if you like. And he could give you some advice, you know, and maybe, I don't know if he can come down, but that's up to you. Ask him to come down to your
So we
property.
understand what the procedure is, what's approved, and we can go sell
Right, well, we can come up, he comes back every year, and this is the first I've been made aware of it, is it's bad on Dodger Road. It's bad in so many places that you can probably just start driving around there and go,
It'll cover everything, we'll do it.
oh, it's, you know, it's going to.
Okay,
Unfortunately, it came in as cattle feed, and there's nobody eating no cattle eating it. But I can give you Ryan's name and number if you like after the meeting.
Tim, Soil and Water hasn't said anything about dealing with that, have they?
Yeah, this is early stages, we're in the middle, we're in a process. We're, like I said, it's in early stages, we just started it late, so.
Okay,
Our target goal is just to see how far it works, and if we can experiment and stop from bushing up, at least we've got into a controlled net area. So at that point, hopefully it's gonna force the main root to grow up into the galvanized chicken wire and choke out the main root. But we're only doing a little section, so next year we'll come spring, because we have the people back behind our highway department as well. So we're gonna do a bigger area, so we're watching this process. We're seeing how long it takes. We're told 2 to 3 years. It's a safer way. It's not a cure-all.
Right.
It's something that works. It stops it from expanding and growing further and more. Yes.
okay, good, thank you.
The more we learn about it, the more we'll bring forth.
Okay, good.
And Ginger had asked if anybody wishes to continue to speak during this forum, please stand up to the people on Zoom and hand out your microphone.
Oh, okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Cynthia.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our communications and petitions. First on the agenda is that we need to accept the resignation of Pat Hinsey as transfer station attendant. I'd like to thank her for, you know, a couple of years that she's been up there and the hard work that she's done. And I know people have been very pleased with her helpfulness there. So someone would like to make that motion to accept that resignation.
Discussion, please.
We need to make the motion first, then we can discuss it. So a motion to bring it to the floor. Jack, a second.
Second.
Marty made the second. Josh, go ahead.
I've been I know of at least 2, could be even 3 meetings in the past where Pat has requested help at the transfer station during the summer months. And, it's 8 short weeks and it's very busy up there, and I completely support her and her thought that I think Wally feels the same way, that we need to have 2 people up there during the summer months.
Josh, our biggest problem this summer has been not finding anybody. We put an ad in the paper last week, that's running 5 different papers, looking for attendance at the landfill. And how many applications do you think we have as of today?
Right.
None.
All right.
So that's where the problem has come in. If you can't find help to put
Can I
up
just-
there,
Can I finish?
go ahead.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like that if we would have accommodated Pat's, so when I think about Wally Peterson and Pat Hinsey, they're huge. The reason that they're working up there is not for monetary gain. They don't make much money up there. They are servants of this community. And when I see a town that doesn't, it is only at her resignation that we're applying for other people. She pleaded in here prior to this with no avail. And I just think that is fundamentally wrong. especially knowing the figures of what our town puts in our bank account each year, which I'm not gonna go into.
Well, thank you.
But
Appreciate that.
I guess I just am deeply saddened to see assets resigning from the town and really want to serve. And if we would have, and maybe we could still rectify this potentially, if we would have offered them help and got them help, I just feel as if it's entirely possible that we'd still have two people that want to serve their town, and maybe we could have found the second person. The other thing that I would just make mention of, and I'm not implying anything by saying this, but I've been on this town board for 4 years now. And I just feel like I'm seeing a lot of people resigning from our town as employees. And I'm concerned about it, and I'm not insinuating anything, but what I am saying is that I think that we should be having exit interviews for people when they resign from the town, and it should be somebody completely objective, probably not even from this town. Maybe it would go in a special folder or something, but we need to know why we're losing good people. Because I, for one, do not feel good about it. And I'm here to just say that if there's a problem, I want to know about it, and I'm very frustrated by what I've seen.
Thank you. We'll take that under advisement. All right, the motion's on the floor. We have a first to the motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Josh, are you opposed?
I'd like to see her stick on, but I will accept it if that's her wish.
Okay, Carrie, then we'll move on to the resignation of Walt Peterson. I'd also like to make one point to you, Josh, and I understand the extra help, but I also look at Pat's situation. We sat down and talked to her. I know at my age, I wouldn't want to be up at that landfill every day, working from 9:30 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. Physically, you get to the point that that's just not what you want to do anymore. It's different being down at the visitor center, dealing with people, but that's a strenuous job up there. And you know, it's not, and Josh, I kind of, when you say the resignations, maybe if you were in this building more often and you saw how things came down and you were aware of the work ethics of, let's say, some people that are here. But you know, when you don't come in the building and you don't really see what's going on, I kind of, when you say, oh, we're having a lot of resignations, you don't think that bothers me too, but it's just the idea that there are certain situations that you can't do much of anything about. Steve, I would like you to, before we put that on the floor for Walt Peterson, I know we have the letter, but apparently you talked to him. So what are we saying? Is he giving us a date? He's staying on what?
First of all, you know, we had a second person up there who resigned from the town, unfortunately, so. And a young person who was doing a good job, so that did eliminate the second person up there, and that was his choice. So Walt is speaking with him. He is in the mindset, I believe, to continue to work up there until we can find adequate replacement. And by taking the steps that we're trying to do to make the dump transfer station the operation as they've done in Oricon and Warrensburg. It is a one-person operation, the two people up there, one person mainly. And once we get this done and with education of the people, hopefully that it'll run as smooth as it runs in those other towns. So again, you know, we're working and we've got, like I said, take a look at those sheets. We want to keep it open because, you know, it's a benefit to the residents of town. We don't want to lose it. So we're working in that mindset to keep working to keep it open. So again, any suggestions y'all have after look at the sheets, please get back to us. Thank you.
All right, Steve, so now are we then accepting his resignation, but leaving it open as far as an end date goes? Is that what we're doing?
He said that, you know, talking to him, his wife just had an operation.
Right.
We understand that, and I think it's good for Betsy. But again, he said he's still gonna come up and work, so I think it's like an open-ended resignation. Who knows, you know, there's no distinctive timetable, which he said in his letter.
All right, then I'd like to have someone make the motion that we accept the resignation, but we'll leave the time of it open. Whenever he makes the decision, I'm done, then we can come back to that. So if someone would like to make that motion and a second to that motion, Jack, any more discussion on that? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. The next one will to accept the resignation of Michael Auerbach as zoning enforcement officer. He will be here through the 20th of this month. And as Jack mentioned, we are looking into other options, one of which is a shared service that we would share that person with another town. It would be like 20 hours here, 20 hours there, but we will be going into executive session afterwards, so the board can discuss this and decide how best we want to move in that direction. So at this point, I need a motion to accept his resignation. Jack will make the motion, a second to the motion.
Second.
Marty, a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Now, the next one is to accept the resignation of Daniel Belding as planning board member. As you're aware, this is probably 50 years of community service that Dan has done, 20 years as highway superintendent, 20 years as supervisor. He's also been on the board of community action for the past 10 years. So, you know, he didn't want to, but he felt at this time that he really didn't have any other options. So he turned in his letter of resignation. And we do thank him for all those years of service. That's a long time to serve your community, and that's wonderful. All right, so would someone like to make that motion to accept that resignation?
So
Steve made the motion, second to the motion. Jack, all right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. The next is a request from the Hague Senior Citizens. Pat, I just condensed it down to just say that you want to use the visitor center during Americade.
Yes,
Anything else that you put in the letter would be covered by that.
it's fine.
Okay, so would someone like to make that motion? Pat, is that like the second or third week in September? I can't
It's
look.
the 20, we do from the 19th, we start on Sunday, so it goes from it really starts down there on Tuesday.
Yes,
But we have to do the 19th to the 26th to kind of make our money in that whole week, because you never know the weather. You know?
okay, and we'll be finished with using the visitor center by then, so there's no problem with them coming in to get everything set up.
And we always leave it usually better than we can.
You know, I know you do a good job with that. So would someone like to make the motion to approve that request? A second by Josh. Any discussion? Right, I know up at the community center, they love going down there to get lunch every day to see what's on the menu, so that works out for us. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. All right, we'll go on to the new business, which we have, first of all, resolution to establish petty cash for the new town clerk. Resolved that the supervisor be authorized to establish a petty cash fund not to exceed $100 for the town clerk's office. So someone like to make that motion? All right, Marty made the motion, seconded by Jack. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. The next resolution. Resolved that Megan Clonan is appointed Registrar of Vital Statistics and Nancy Young be appointed Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics for the balance of the 2021 year. Someone like to make that motion? Jack made the motion, second to the motion. Josh, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. All right, the next one is just really, we're correcting one from last month. Whereas the town board adopted resolution number 95 of 2021 to appoint Tim Fiallo as chief audio visual technician and Zoom coordinator, and whereas clarification is needed as to the actual salary for the position, and that it was the intent to pay a salary of $1,000 for the remainder of this fiscal year on a weekly basis, and the calculations to arrive at said salary was based on $20 an hour for 50 hours. Now therefore be resolved that that resolution number 95 of 2021 be amended to incorporate said change. So if someone would like to make that motion. Jack made the motion, second to the motion. Second by Steve. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. The next one deals with me being able to sign the contract. I just want to tell you from Warren County, did you put a copy in your folders though, which I had got from the attorney, that we will be receiving $90,040.78 for snow and ice removal and $4,997.08 for mowing. So that's basically what the contract is going to be saying. So I need permission in order to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with Warren County for the year 2022. So would someone like to make that motion? Steve made a motion, second to the motion. Second by Josh. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. The next resolution. Resolved that the town board amend the sewer district number 1 budget for the year 2021 by increasing revenue. G01-2122 sewer service charges by $5,196 and increasing E1 pump expenditures G01-8120-410 by $5,196. So I need someone to make that motion. To let Jack make the motion, second to the motion. Second, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. All right, next on the agenda, should be on the back of your agenda, we have the EDU Appeals Committee recommendations, and you all should have had one put in your folder, but if I'm not mistaken, Diane also forwarded this to everyone, so you have it. And we have 3 that we have to act on. And the committee agreed unanimously to make the recommendations below to the town board to be considered at the regular board meeting on August 10th. And just as a reminder, under the EDU schedule adopted by the town board in 2021, a single family residence with 3 or fewer bedrooms is assigned 1 EDU. Each additional bedroom is assigned 0.33 EDU. A bunkhouse / accessory structure with plumbing but without a kitchen is assigned 0.33 EDU per room. A bunkhouse / accessory structure with kitchen is charged as a residence. So the first one we had, and I will let you speak in just a couple of minutes, Pamela Miller-Zier, is that how you say the last name? Okay, so the original EDU assessment was 1.67 EDU. The owner requested a reduction to 1.33 since 2 of the bedrooms in the bunkhouse had been combined to 1. The assessor made a site visit, determined that the bunkhouse has a kitchen, which means it should be assessed in terms of EDUs as a residence with 1 EDU. Thus, the recommendation is that the assessment be changed to 2.00 EDUs, 1 for the main house and 1 for the bunkhouse. So do we need to put a motion on the floor first and then allow for this?
I'm trying to remember how we did it the last time. I don't have those figures.
Okay.
I think we did each one, but I think we should do each one.
And I
by
think that is what we
resolution.
did last time we did it. So why don't we put the motion on the floor, then I can ask for discussion by either the board or Mrs. Zier, who needs to speak first because we promised.
I'm pretty sure it's gotta be done by resolution.
Okay, so would someone like to make the motion on this particular one, and then we'll go from there. Jack? All right, a second to that motion? Second. All right, so now I would like you to speak, and I believe everyone should have gotten a packet of pictures, did you not? So please go up and explain to us what you are looking at, what you're willing to do so that you were back to the original number that you had. Okay?
Well, our property has been on our family for celebrating 80 years this year. This bunkhouse started as a tent platform, built in 1941 by my grandfather. He eventually added on to it, and at one point he put in a little platform step, a little refrigerator and a sink. Since 1968, that kitchen has not been used. When Mr. Belden came and we originally got assessed for the sewer, he looked at that kitchen, the stove, and said, "Yeah, that doesn't work, does it?" And I said, "No, my God, we've never cooked anything."
Could you speak up just a little bit, please?
Mr. Belden
Oh, great.
originally came, looked at the kitchen, asked me if the stove worked. I said, "No, because we've never cooked anything in it since 1968, since we completed our main house," which I have a gourmet kitchen in my main house. I'm quite an avid cook. Double ovens, really nice kitchen. We never used it as such, but we keep it because it's old. It
Right.
reminds us of our grandparents. So what I'd like to understand is the definition of a kitchen. If it means I have to take a non-working 1960s era stove out of my back cottage, I will do that, but we keep it for nostalgia purposes. It's not used, it's never been used by me in my life. and I'm 61. We don't prepare any meals there. It's not a kitchen.
But I think if you're looking at that reduction, you have to remove that stove though. That's
Well,
my
I
interpretation,
followed the rules though, because I had 2 bedrooms.
right?
And I made the bedroom into 1 bedroom and a closet, which I tried to give you pictures so you could see.
Right.
And I actually provided a video to Amanda, so
Mhm.
you could see that I did that.
Right.
So I understand that, but originally, the person that originally assessed me for the EDUs recognized that that was not used as a kitchen. It's not a kitchen, the stove doesn't work. So what I want to understand is if you're going to make me take the stove out to not be a kitchen, then I will do that. I prefer not to because it's nostalgia.
And I do understand that, but I think we're kind of treading on thin ice if we don't stay.
But originally, everyone acknowledged it's never been used as a kitchen. If you look at the pictures, we have stuff put on it. I mean, it doesn't
Right.
work.
No, I understand that. Jack, I think you were on that committee, so I'm sure you have something to say.
The process went ahead as scheduled in the protocol, and the assessor came and saw your situation and agreed that there was just 1 room there instead of 2.
Correct.
So that's good. So that would have, in a sense, reduced your 167 to 133. However, he was not informed or did not tell the committee or assess that it was a non-working kitchen.
Right.
So therefore,
He didn't mention it to my husband. If he would have, my husband would have showed him that it didn't work.
and right, and he didn't mention it to the committee either, so the committee's recommendations stand as is, and what we think you could do is move that stove out and reappeal next year to the assessor, and when he comes and he sees that it is not a kitchen, you can go from your current, the 2021.
So you're saying I have to pay 2 EDUs for this year because I'm going to appeal that.
I
I don't think that's fair.
believe what did you pay in 2021?
1.67.
Okay, so that has been paid.
Oh, yes, I paid
Because
my
that-
bills.
yeah, that was what it was, and it's.
Yes. But I don't think it's fair.
Sort of unfortunate that you came forward and revealed it, because it could have stayed at 1.67 and nobody would have known any different.
I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. I wasn't trying to hide anything. I was told originally when my property was assessed, it wasn't a kitchen. The stove doesn't work. I'd already been told that by someone who
I
represented the town.
understand. your history,
Well, I wasn't trying to
going
hide
back all
anything,
those
so-
years, we cannot address that at this point. It's simply, the assessor came, made an assessment, reported it to the committee, and the committee ruled as the assessor reported. So
Okay, so-
now you are in that position, and we accept, if you want, you can move your stove out, have it reassessed, and you will, we think, get the 1.3.
Okay, then I would like to do that like next week and take it out. I'm not gonna pay 1 year more than I should because I was honest and said, oh, I could change my bedrooms. I didn't even realize really truly, the only thing that made me come in here was it said 1.67. And I was like, why is it 1.67 when it's 0.33? 0.33 and 0.33 is 0.66. So I came in and said, why is it, I'm just curious, why is it 1.67? Oh, well, we round up, it's for each bedroom. And I said, oh, guess what? I only have 1 bedroom now because I made my other bedroom into a closet. Oh, then you should appeal. So then I appealed and now I get charged 2 EDUs. It's like, no, right.
So, Jackie, am I to understand that the stove is the determining factor of whether it classifies as a kitchen?
Yes, the stove, because there is a sink and
Refrigerator.
refrigerator in
Right.
the house. So
And we use the sink because my house is 12 feet wide. My
Mhm.
husband is a big guy. He can't even fit in our little bathroom, so he brushes his teeth and washes his hands.
So I'm inclined to agree with Ms.
0.
Zero.
that why don't we just send Mr. Martucci back over there this year and try to accommodate her?
He was just over there. Wasn't it just,
I'm saying, but if he would have saw when he was there,
If he would have asked my husband. when
if he would have saw that it was just nostalgic, he would,
Look at the pictures.
he wouldn't have raised the rate, if he would have saw it was a non-working stove.
It is a working stove.
No, it's not. Look at the pictures. That stove has not been turned on since
It
1960.
hasn't, the fact that it's not
Hooked up.
being used is irrelevant.
I don't think it even works, to be honest with you.
The committee had no way of knowing that from the appeal.
Ms. Zero, I think that the problem is that the town has to use an objective formula and determine the kitchen so that it's fair to all the residents. But I would say that I'm in agreement with you that, in this case, that, we should accommodate Ms. Zero.
Steve?
Yeah, might as well, take the stove out, have Dave go take a look at it, and don't drag it on the next year, just call it a day and roll it out.
Thank you.
We can put that in there, Steve. I mean, you can make that
Yeah, I
motion.
make a
We'll
motion
act-
that, when you take it out, and I'll let Dave know what it is, he comes back and takes a look at it, and it shouldn't, reflect any increase, it should be stabilized.
Table until next meeting.
Have a hand up in the back.
Ginger?
Yeah, just a point of order, and I think, we're past August first, so basically the way the sewer bills work is if you get a bill in April, and then if you want to appeal it, you basically have until, the end of July, because that's when it's due. After August first, and this is all documented, after August first, it's not been paid, goes to county. So we're basically past August first now.
Right.
So if you wanted, if the town board decides to have David go and reassess it again, that will apply to next year, not to 2021.
She is right on that, Steve.
Well, she could be right on that, but, the question is, in my mind, that, if he goes over there and looks and it's gone, and he, obviously, you want to help you, if the thing's gone, why should, I don't think it's reasonable to do that and, roll it out for a whole another half.
Why would I, in my right mind, invite him in to reassess if I knew I had a kitchen?
Right.
I would have come to you and said, oh, I have a kitchen by your definition, you're undercharging me.
Okay, excuse me a minute, Nancy.
And I know I should not, I'm here to observe,
Right.
but I'm also acting as the sewer tax
Oh,
collector.
that's right.
And the town sewer taxes have to be submitted. Our warrant, if you will, the whole who's paid, who hasn't paid, what we've given the town, has to be signed, sealed, delivered, and handed over to Warren County. And I've got a phone call into them now because we're really feeling like we've got to get a lot done in a certain amount of time. And I need to know what their absolute deadline is, because it has to be re-levied onto the Warren County
I
tax
can take that
rolls.
stove out tomorrow. I mean.
But we're asking, it might even, it needs to be in by next week. There's a process, it just doesn't mean going in with an eraser.
Yeah, Steve.
Then the board has to readjust the warrant, that has to be done at a town board open meeting, where they have to pass an additional resolution to amend, I'm playing no part
I
in
just
who owes
think-
what, but I'm just saying, this is the reality. If we don't get that in on time, we hold up all the Warren County taxes for all towns.
All right, so then you haven't paid your taxes then for this year, is that
I
what?
paid my bill whenever it was due, whatever I.
So then whatever then is moving
In
forward
June, whatever bill I paid.
would be for
I don't
next
owe
year,
you
right,
money,
Ginger?
so I can pay up till today.
No, what she's already paid was for 2021.
Right,
What I'm saying is if she wants David to come back, if she wants to reappeal it and have David come back after she's taken the stove out, that would apply to the 2022 bill.
well, that's what I was just
The
gonna
next bill
say.
I'm gonna get, right?
Pardon me?
The next bill I'll get.
Yeah,
Right,
it's April of
right.
2022.
That's, and I think that's really what we have to do. So we've made the motion, we've seconded the motion. So what we're going to say is, that's a good question.
Gonna go back to the 1.33.
Go back to the original.
Right, like for 2022, it will go back to the 1.
3.3.
She's already paid the 1.67.
She's already, right. So that's how we're gonna act on that. What?
Probably would have a credit going back.
I don't even care.
All right, she just wants to make sure she
I
has
just want it right going forward.
Next year.
We can't do
Right,
it.
right.
Pardon me, no,
We
we
don't
I
don't.
mean, truly, I don't. I just want it to be.
We want to make sure you,
Right,
okay.
right.
So all those in favor of moving forward in this particular meeting?
No, I-
Aye. Those opposed? All right, carried. Thank you. And
We are-
thank you.
So I'm just gonna take out, just to be clear, I'm gonna remove my stove.
Yep.
Call and have this.
Tell David.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, the second one is, excuse me, I'd just like to move forward, please. Excuse me, could we move forward with our meeting, please? And you could do your discussion outside if you'd like. All right, Lee Mascalera, this is a residence with an accessory structure. The residence had 3 or fewer bedrooms. The accessory structure has 2 bedrooms, no kitchen. The original assessment was 2. The recommendation is to reduce the assessment from 2 EDUs to 1.67 for the 2 bedrooms in the accessory structure. So would someone like to make that motion to approve what they have requested? Unless you want a discussion. All right, Marty made the motion, a second to that.
Second.
Steve, any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
And that's for this line.
No, this is for that Lee Mascalera, the
But
second.
I didn't get that paperwork, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Is this for 2021? I will get it.
You will
I
get,
just need to, it's for this year.
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes. I'm sorry, Nancy, I thought you did have that. The third one is for Rickman. This is a single structure with 3 bedrooms plus 1 additional bedroom/bathroom separated by a wall, which the owner says is temporary. The current assessment is 2 EDUs, but there is no kitchen with a separate bedroom. So it should not be considered an additional unit, but rather an additional bedroom. The recommendation is to reduce the assessment from 2 EDUs to 1.33 EDUs. So I'd like someone to make the motion, first of all. Steve, a second to that?
Second.
Marty, any discussion on that one? Do you know where they're talking about? Down at the apartments down there. Okay, just so you know. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Before we go into executive sessions for personnel reasons, I sent out this on the charging station. I didn't know if anybody had any input, but I'd like to tell you what happened at the county. We went for a grant, we put in 6 charging stations. And for the year 2020, the total revenue from our 6 charging stations was $57. So I just would like you to know it's not really a moneymaker. I mean, if somebody's interested in pursuing it, do some legwork, read it over, you can come back to us and say, you know, I think it's something we should do. But I just wanted you to know, at the county level, and they're much more, I don't know.
Larger.
Yeah, an area where they, you know, the outlets are right next, but we could not believe it, that $57 was.
But I
Go ahead.
see the one in Ticonderoga, there's cars there all the
Art,
time.
now where is, I didn't know there was one.
It's down behind all the shops.
Oh, okay, well, we have the
Oh, I did see
paperwork.
one back there. Yeah, I was back there.
There's cars there all the
Yeah, I was
time.
back to the bank. I saw one guy using.
Well, you have paperwork, it gives you sites that you could check out. So if someone so desires, do some information. I think you can get the grant dollars to get it, but I'm not sure about the maintenance of it. So if you really think it's something we should be doing, we might be interested in doing one, perhaps, having it in a good location. And,
Oh, we don't want to put anything.
you know, what can't be, it could be, it's not a good idea. Yes.
My only thought on what you just said, at the car charging stations, is not necessarily, you know, if we made, you know, broke even or made $100. It's more, how is it going to impact our town negatively or positively? And I don't really know the answer to that question, but that would be the major determining factor in my mind.
Okay, so you know, maybe you could do the research on this, because right in the back here, list areas that you could check, sites that you could go on, and maybe next month come back and say, I think it's a good idea. We maybe should look into it because I believe we get a grant to get the charging stations, but then moving forward, I'm not exactly sure how you cover the expense of it. But if it's something that, you feel adamant about, please, we'd be happy to have you come back and do that for us.
Yeah, I'll try to look into how it would affect our.
Okay.
Sure.
Now, the last thing we have on here is this from Bob Keating, and just so you know, this is going to be a process that takes a while. Not going to happen overnight. I have a sheet here with 10 steps that we have to take. So if you read this over, again, we're into this buoy thing, and we have a lot of them listed in our zoning book there. Oh, he's been looking at, they've never received official permission to have the buoy, so they're apologizing for this oversight on our part. They'd appreciate our help. And it looks like the first thing we have to do is that we have to agree to the intent of the ordinance, and then we have to draft the ordinance. So I guess it's on the top, that Pickerel Bay Association is located just southeast of the ranger station. We're just north of Washington County Beach.
I just think if we're gonna do something like that, the whole board needs to go over there, start looking at these buoys, knowing where they are, knowing how it's gonna impact people driving on the lake. It's not just like, let's start the process. No, let's stop giving buoys out and protect the lake so that my daughter one day can ski in a bed. And it's really bad how many buoys we keep giving away. And that's just my opinion.
Josh, that buoy over there needs to be there. It couldn't do it, it's not.
Right,
Not
but
skiable.
I'm just telling you, I know
It's not a skiable area, like.
We're gonna start.
Like, they'll make, hold up, maybe they'll pull up.
So I guess we need to make a motion, though, and then we'll start the process. Marty, you want to make that motion? Second, Steve, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, got you, Josh, thank you. Okay, with that, I am going to ask that we go into executive session, to discuss the personnel issue. In 15 minutes. Motion, second motion. Yeah, all those in favor?
There's some of those sheets, they run away out the door.
I love it. That's a great part.